And the next person that I wanted to bring on, our last one for the summit, the UK's first ADHD coaching summit, is Anita. So I'm just going to get her to come in now. She came in, but the video was playing. Now, Anita, so she is one of my creative clients. So we haven't really heard from our creatives with ADHD yet. So I'm delighted to get Anita to come in and speak to you about the journey. And here she is. Hello, Anita.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
No worries. No worries. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and you're the first creative that we've had, or the only creative this summit, basically, that we're speaking to around your ADHD and the coaching journey and kind of the outcomes you've created. Now, I know you're not well, so we're going to keep it fairly short because I don't want to keep you, but thank you so much. So, yeah, Nita, did you want to share with participants kind of what brought you to coaching in the first place?
Yeah, I guess when I was diagnosed, which was I think probably like 3 years ago now, I, like a lot of people, got the diagnosis and then was sort of just left. And for me, it was a combination of having therapy to sort of with a ADHD therapist, but then also learning the ways to change my life, or like just learning what to make life work for me. And learning why I had struggled with things in the past, and working sort of in organizations and companies, etc. I'm a freelance journalist now, but I worked on papers and magazines for years, and I really struggled, and I would leave after a year because I would just be bored, or something would go wrong, or it was really key to understanding, I guess, my past as well as what I hope for the future.
Yeah, and there was a lot of overwhelm. And, I guess as a freelancer, there were lots of different projects going on, lots of deadlines to meet. And at the same time, you had a message to give out to the world. You were writing your book, which is now published. Would you like to tell participants a bit about your book and how coaching helped you, stay on that and make sure that went out with your message, your authentic message?
Yeah, definitely. So my book is called Ugly. I actually have it here. It's about it's part memoir, but it looks at where our beauty standards come from and how they are affecting our lives. And it looks at so many different topics. So there is something in there for everyone. And I think the way that coaching really helped me with my book was, I guess, keeping me on track with deadlines. I definitely learned how bad my sort of tendency towards perfectionism was, because I ended up taking at least 6 months longer to write the book than I thought I would, because I was so obsessed with like hyper focusing on things and going off in different tangents. So it really helped with that. It helped keep me on track with deadlines and goals. And also I got so bogged down with research and wanting things to be perfect and correct, I would forget my message quite often, or the reason that I wrote the book. So that was really crucial to have someone go, wait, or I was quite often was trying to manage other work alongside writing the book, and actually there was a point where I had to just be like, no, I'm just going to take a hit for 6 months and not make any money or whatever, and live off my advance for a bit. And yeah, I think it's that thing where it's very hard. I find it very hard to not take on too much, and as a freelancer as well. So it was really crucial to to make sure I didn't put too much on my plate.
Yeah, so the boundaries. Yeah, us ADHDers, we're not very good at setting boundaries, are we? And we do feel overwhelmed, and we feel like we can't set our agenda. That was another thing actually with with the magazine that you wanted to work for. There was something that you were able to do for the first time through coaching. Do you remember what we did in order for you to set your
Yeah.
agenda?
Yeah, I just so a magazine approached me about working for them sort of part-time, and I really wanted to do it. It was really prestigious, and I'm still there now. But I sort of set out exactly what I would and wouldn't do. And I guess the part of that was, it was really good to sort of go through and be like, okay, yes, I can manage this. This is how long this will take. Because I do have a tendency to think I can do 500 things a day. And sometimes I can do that. But the cost is the fact that I have really bad burnout, and I've had it for 2 years now. So yeah, so when this magazine approached me, I went back with like, this is how much money I want, this is what I can do, etc. And I've just renegotiated my fee with them, which is good. So that's gone up.
Right.
But yeah, it was really good to sort of just be like, this is it, and like have those boundaries, and to be able to walk away, I think is the most crucial thing. You like feel like that's something I've definitely learned during my career, is to not settle for something and to just be like, no, it's like it's this or something better will come along, like, and to sort of be strong within that, which is really hard when you're freelance, I think, in particular. But
With ADHD, even
yeah,
harder, isn't it? Because
yeah, because the
yeah,
impulsivity, and yeah,
and
definitely,
rejection sensitivity, fear of missing out,
yeah,
that lack of oversight over, what you've actually got on. It's hard, isn't it, to be able to set boundaries when, if you don't have visibility over kind of your agenda, what you've got on, then anything's possible. So you kind of everyone's, if
yeah,
you don't, not clear. And so that's something that we've definitely worked on, and recently too, getting these things back in place, because yeah, us ADHD is right, we do fall off the bandwagon.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I really struggle with is emails. So I can
Mm.
really feel it getting, because there was a point when I was writing the book where I was just spending all day answering emails, because I get probably like 400 emails a day. And yeah, I just find it so overwhelming. And even today, I was like, oh, I have to go home and spend 2 hours doing emails. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? No, there's one important one. I'll reply to that. I'm actually going to leave the rest. I'm sick. I'm just going to leave
Good
it.
on you.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I really struggle with that, and I can feel it creeping up again. So yeah, it really, yeah, I think what we did was I put an out of office on that said, I'm really busy writing my book. If it's urgent, I'll get back to you. And then it gave me the license to just sort of like delete basically loads of emails, which is really good. So I maybe have to do something similar again, I think, whilst I'm sort of catching up a bit.
Yeah. No, you've really, from what I've seen in the coaching, been able to kind of take more charge of your life. The clearer you've become on your priorities, what you stand for, you've become more selective,
Yeah,
more discerning, and being able to set expectations a lot more clearly with people, I've found, and giving yourself permission to, be able to, maybe self-care or do something. Did you do the cooking the other night? We remember the meal.
yeah,
Oh, where's my photo?
I know. I didn't take a picture because it didn't look great. I've got an air fryer, which
Oh,
like many people, uh, and so I was trying to work that. So I did try and make something, but yeah,
how'd it
didn't.
go?
Yeah, it was okay. It was
Was it
okay.
good?
I mean, I've left it dirty in the kitchen, so that's gone well.
Well, that wasn't part of the action was to cook, and you did. And
Yeah,
yeah, because again, it's about choice, isn't it? Like, I guess because we feel so anxious and overwhelmed, and the guilt, it just feels like we don't have that choice, do we, in terms of what we choose to use our time with? It's like, I just have to get on top of it.
yeah,
That's kind of where we come from. But I think, you have been able to, through the coaching in particular, been able to get a bit more perspective in terms of identifying what's at stake. Well, hang on, this is my priority, keeping your eye on your why, and giving yourself permission to set boundaries, to say, nope, this is what I'm just going to focus on, this and my health, taking those breaks.
yeah. It's so easy to forget even when you think you know these things. So yeah, I've definitely sort of fallen back into that. So it's really good to have a reminder that that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, we do. We need it. We are so blind, aren't we, to kind of our patterns. We forget the things that are good for us. And I guess that's that coaching. It's someone, I think Kat from the Life Coach Directory was talking about how, and this is where I did want to say something, but I'll say it now. She talked about how coaching should very much kind of set, people up for independence. Now I think for ADHD is, and I should have maybe corrected her on that front. But remember, we talk about interdependence, the whole message that starts in education, setting us up, be independent, do it yourself, kind of just leaving us to it. That's not that's not going to, you know, set us up to succeed. We do need that body double, whether it's the coach that continues with you, or, you know, that personal assistant that can maybe do those check-ins with you and keep up, you know, that they kind of know the things that you need to be doing through the coaching, and then they can kind of take over in terms of accountability and stuff like that. But we need people. We need the body double, like always. We always will.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me as well, I don't know if there is anyone else out there who's freelance. I think it's really helped me working in other places that's not my house as well. I think for me that it all, every time I look around my room, like my flat, and I'm looking around it now, I see everything is a to-do list and everything is something that needs to be done. So for me, like taking myself out of that and working somewhere, and I work from like a members club, and it's, you know, it's fine. It just gets me, it feels like a treat as well, and it just gets me out of my space. And it definitely really helped a lot when I was writing the book to sort of have a separation between work and home.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we talked about, redesigning, you know, often we do need to kind of think about the different environments that will help us and help us get out of our own way. And a lot of ADHD is, again, using the body double strategy. It's just that energy of, you know, being around, I guess, you're that members club, you know, you get there, other people are doing their thing, you know, and moving and shaking, you know, and you kind of, us ADHDs, we want to belong, and we want, you know, we want to be part of the team. So kind of being amongst that, you know, you're going to basically, that's that accountability piece really as well, that, you know, gets you working. Whereas if you're home and no one can see you, right, what tends to happen?
Yeah, we just watch reality TV for hours, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that energy, as you said, it's that energy, because us ADHDs, we are quite sensitive to energy, and being, I guess, with other people in that club, you know, the buzz, a lot of ADHDs
Yeah.
feed off, you know, just having someone in the room, you know, some ADHDs can clean up if there's just someone there,
Yeah.
witnessing someone there. Does that
Um,
resonate?
yeah, definitely. I use Focusmate as well quite a lot during writing my book, just to have, if there were periods where I was like, oh God, I'm really struggling, um, I would set a Focusmate for like 8 a.m. or whatever, and then I'd have to show up. And
Yeah.
it made me show up actually and just go and do some work and sort of break through a bit.
Yeah, so you've really learned kind of how you get in your own way, and kind of, you know, your methods and strategies to keep you out of your own way. And it's the coaching and the check-ins kind of help you, remind you, hang on, that's where, you know, I'm falling down here. Oh, this is the thing that worked, getting that back on. And again, keeping your eye on your why, your priorities, which, you know, we do in terms of the planning. But I mean, you've done so well, like your book, you know, you really put so much into it. And, you know, it came from, and this is something we worked on as well in coaching, from your heart. You started writing it for a very, strong, you know, reason, very personal reason. So I was going to ask, would you like to, just before we go, would you like to tell participants a bit more about the book and kind of why you wrote it, and, you know, and how it could be of benefit to participants, you know, if they've got kids, you know, young people with ADHD, or if they've got ADHD themselves?
Yeah, so the book, it's part memoir. So what I guess I'm known for is being a beauty journalist, and it talks about my relationship to beauty, which was essentially that I felt ugly a lot when I was a child, from the age of 4, actually, um, where I had an experience where I was going to a sort of a child's birthday party, like another child's birthday party, and I went to the front of the sort of queue. Basically, it was a big fancy dress party. It was a princess party, and everyone was getting these princess outfits to wear, and I was really excited. So I got to the front of the queue to get an outfit, and then the woman who was giving them out sort of looked me up and down and was like, "You're too big," and then she gave me this like horrible outfit instead. And I remember it was the first time that I felt like there was something wrong with me and the way that I looked. And I think then I grew up in South Wales as well, which in you know, the area I lived in was pretty white as well. So for me, it was just this like seed of ugliness, I guess, that was planted, and it just grew and grew and grew to the point where I became really obsessed with beauty and beauty products. I've ended up being a beauty journalist for a living. So it really did shape my entire life. So the book is part that, certain experiences I've had, and it's very honest. But the other part of it is that it looks at the beauty industry. It looks at where our beauty standards come from historically. It looks at loads of dubious science that, things like the sort of facial symmetry being the way to be beautiful and things like that. And it sort of unpicks lots of myths about beauty, but it's also quite fun as well, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it to be super, super academic, like, for example, the beauty myth, which is amazing, but it's quite hard going. So I think that's the thing people have said, oh, it's a really easy read. It's really fun, but it's also super informative too. So yeah, there's something in there for everyone, definitely.
And what is your hope? You wrote it to reach
Yeah,
who and why?
I wrote it to reach as many people as I could, and people who had, like me, struggled with the way that they looked in some way, and to sort of just, I guess, let them know that there's someone else who's gone through that, but also that the whole point of the book is because it gives you the reasons as to why these things have become beauty standards, whether that's body size or skin color, etc. Then it almost explains why that has become a thing, and it kind of tells you, well, it basically tells you it's not your fault that this is a beauty standard, and it shows you why. And quite often those beauty standards have really just like awful origins, and I think once you know those origins, so for example, our obsession with being thin over the last 100 years, it's only been the sort of last 120 years that that's been a thing. Before that, it wasn't a big deal, but it was when Britain started to decolonize that there was an obsession with thinness, because people wanted to distinguish between what was beautiful as a white person and what was beautiful as a non-white person. So I guess once you start to know those things, it gives you a real insight and almost like an anger, really, and to think, oh my God, that awful thing has controlled my life for so many years. I've been dieting my entire life, and that is the reason why that exists. For me, it was just a real light bulb. I was like, wow, if more people knew this, I think they would give themselves an easier ride. So yeah, that was sort of the point of the book, really, just to explore those unknown histories and myths.
Yeah, knowledge is power. And I know I was kind of thinking it's akin to in coaching how we challenge limiting beliefs, because we don't know, we're operating a certain way, acting, and it's all based on beliefs we have that we don't even maybe know we have. So I guess that's kind of what you're doing in this book is, challenging people's beliefs and giving them the actual knowledge to be able to maybe make a different decision, perhaps.
Yeah, I hope so.
Perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, and give themselves just a bit of a easier time of it.
It's amazing. Someone's asked, is it an app, a book, a strategy? Where can one find some info about it?
So I think that's about Focus Mate. Um,
Um,
but
oh yeah, Focus Mate.
yeah, it's just a website, so it's free to use, I think, and you just sort of sign up and you can buddy up with someone and it sort of almost looks
Yes.
like this. And like you get on with whatever you want to get on with, and they get on with whatever they get on with, and you sort of just check in at the start and the end. But they're a complete
Yeah,
stranger.
yeah, that's why it's good. It's a complete stranger because you're going to show up, and you don't know who they are. So there's a bit of lack of safety there. So we want to kind of be our best selves. But yeah, Anita's book, Ugly. That's where can people buy that?
You can buy it everywhere, Waterstones, Amazon, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and I think it's really important because, if we look at it in terms of, with ADHD, rejection sensitive dysphoria, a big part of that, has caused a lot of in ADHDers and particularly with autism as well, eating disorders, you look at kind of what our girls are doing on TikTok, just this, yeah, they're just losing all perspective. And so, yeah, I think maybe we need to educate them. And I think if, by parents in particular reading Ugly and understanding, what, how these things came to be, they can share these things and let's see, whether it makes a difference. Because it's important. The ADHD is, and particularly from a young age, able to develop a bit more of a healthy relationship to themselves,
Yeah.
not an easy gig, but I think it's amazing what you've done, Anita. Really kind of changing lives, because that was your mission to, be able to, if you had a book like that, when you were going through what you did, the awful experience, and then being able to have that information in your hands, the difference it would have made to you.
Yeah, that's kind of really why I wrote it. Just like if I'd have known those things, I wouldn't have felt the way I did. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, and I know it's helped people already, so that's great. And I hope it continues to help more.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on in coaching at the moment, aren't we? We want to really kind of spread the word, and that's, another thing that's difficult, isn't it, in terms of promoting yourself when you've got ADHD.
Yeah, when you've got ADHD and ADHD burnout as well, has definitely been hard, and requires a lot of boundary setting, which yeah, I feel like I failed at a little bit recently, but I'm trying to get back on track. So it's definitely
Yeah.
not been linear. It's been like this.
And it
So
never is.
no,
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful. Yeah, like ADHD medication, pills don't give skills. ADHD coaching is not a magic bullet, doesn't, completely, solve the, your ADHD issues. It just helps you, better, you're able to do certain things you couldn't do before. And I think most importantly, that mindset shift and being able to be a bit more compassionate with yourself and set expectations, more achievable ones with yourself too, as well as with positioning with others to get your needs met. Um, and start prioritizing joy, right? As opposed to just shooting all over yourself and being buried under the mountain of work that's always going to be there.
yeah, definitely. I think that's sort of my focus now, is to really just get everything in a place that I want it to be in, and get some more joy in my life, because it's been very work focused.
Yeah. So more of the cooking, more
Yeah.
of the, yeah. Look, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go because you're not well, but yeah, someone said you're so inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, do look her
For your
up. I
help
think
as
we can.
well, Steph.
Thank you. We can follow you. Can't we? We can
Yes,
follow you on
you can. You can follow me on Instagram, which I'll put in the thing now. And also I've got a Substack if anyone is interested in beauty culture, interesting things around that. I do have a Substack. Hold on, let me just find it one
yeah,
sec.
share.
Um,
Great.
and you just have to sign up, and yeah, it's really fun. And here we go. That is my Substack. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you. No, Anita, you're going from strength to strength. Honestly, it's been a pleasure, and we'll continue
Yes,
to work together and
please.
get you. But look, you go and rest now. But thank you again for sharing. You're a
Yeah,
legend.
no worries, no worries. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Steph.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.